A few weeks ago, in June 2024, Etsy made a very quiet policy change that you wouldn't be allowed to sell adult insertable products on their website anymore, and there would be a few ways that you had to specifically list other BDSM type items. So the wording of it was that insertable items that would be inserted into genitalia or designed for any kind of genital play wouldn't be allowed on the website anymore, and that all other BDSM type products would still be allowed, but you had to just put the tag mature in your listing, and you had to make sure that the first picture wasn't explicit. At first glance, this doesn't look too bad, it doesn't sound too bad, because it's not an age-restricted site, so children can find Etsy very easily. They can be browsing for all sorts of stuff, and you don't want them to suddenly see a picture of a butt plug in use or something. But it put a lot of us that sell BDSM gear rather wary, because Etsy does a lot of this by bots with no recourse for us to actually talk to a human and get things reinstated when those bots go a bit haywire. So we had fun a few months back, I think it was last year, when someone at Etsy decided to program the word dragon as a banned item. So you couldn't sell anything that had the word dragon anywhere, because in parts of America that's a slang word for a type of drug thing. So overnight, all of us who had pictures of dragons, Dungeons and Dragons, D&D things, dragon jewelry, anything to do with dragon, got instantly deactivated by Etsy and warnings sent against our shops. So a few days later, this did get pointed out to Etsy and they did reinstate it all, but it already showed us what would happen if they just let bots do the work of deciding what items were insertables. And there's no longer a helpline or an easy way to get in touch with anyone at Etsy, and even if you do manage, it's usually someone who has no authority and just quotes things back at you and doesn't actually have any power to make any changes. So I was a bit concerned yesterday, which was the first day that these new policies were coming into effect. The rules were about putting mature in the tags and making sure that the first photo didn't show the product in use or anything that wouldn't be suitable for children or anyone who didn't want to see that kind of thing to see. So I'd made sure that I'd gone through, I'd put mature in all my tags of the items I was keeping, I'd deactivated anything that was designed for a sex toy to be inserted into the body or genitals inserted into it. And I'd made sure that all my initial photos were just pictures of the item. So like a cane just looks like a piece of wood. However, throughout the day, I got an email in the morning. Etsy has deactivated some of your listings because they went against our policies, and if this continues, you could lose your star seller and your entire shop could be closed down. I went on. Fair enough. Okay, there was a gag that one of them just looks like a normal ball gag. Another one did look slightly phallic, but the photo obviously didn't look like that for the first image. I thought, okay, well, a gag isn't designed, you can't say the genital area really includes the mouth, but I suppose it's designed to be inserted into the body. Like, food and drink that's sold on there is also designed to be inserted into the body through the mouth. But okay, fair enough. They've deactivated gags. They've decided that gags can't be allowed under this new ruling. Fine. Go about my day. A couple of hours later, another email. We have removed some of your listings. They go against the adult policy. If this carries on, we might deactivate your shop. Look at what they've deactivated this time. Okay, so this one's a bit more random. They've deactivated a fabric sleep sack. Okay, well, you insert your body into the sleep sack, I suppose, like you insert your body into clothing. Not really sure on that one, Etsy. It's fabric, there's no obvious, holes around the genitals where things are exposed or anything. It is just a fabric bag that you zip yourself, well, someone else zips you into, so you can be in the feeling of a cocoon. And there were a couple of pet play items as well. So now the furry community and the pet play community are being targeted as being told that this is too sexual, which is interesting because pet play is one of often the least sexual kinks. It's more about people wanting to dress up and pretend to be an animal for a while, and that is quite often not a very sexual fetish for a lot of people. So Etsy's starting to lose the plot a bit here. But again, there's no real way that I can contact Etsy and say, this is unfair, this has been removed in error, just like there isn't for everything that gets removed from social media posts and my YouTube videos and my YouTube channel that's been closed down many, many times, which is why this is another YouTube channel I've had to start up. So I carry on, go about my day, do a bit more work, think, okay, hopefully that's the end of it. Then a few hours later, there hasn't been an email this time, but I decide to look in my Etsy account and just check the inactive items. And sure enough, they've been at it again, but this time they're not even claiming that it violates this new adult policy. They have just decided to deactivate products of mine. So this time there's all my leather blindfolds. Now, they haven't said they've deactivated them because they go against the new adult policy, but they've deactivated them on the same day that they're deactivating everything that goes against that. So I'm guessing this doesn't count as a violation against the shop and it won't risk me being closed down. But for some reason now I'm not allowed to sell any blindfolds on Etsy either. Which, okay, you insert your eyes into a blindfold, but even Primark sells blindfolds as sleeping aids. They were all things that I've personally hand-stitched at a sewing machine and look very much like they've been handmade, and it's not some obvious stock shot that's been stolen off AliExpress or something. It looks like, here is a leather item I have made and here's a picture of it in my workshop. So they can't say that it wasn't handmade. They haven't tried to say that it's an adult product. It's definitely not something that's applied to genitals or inserted into the body. But they've deactivated all of my blindfold listings. So I have gone through and tried to remove anything from my Etsy store that looks a little bit too fetishy, like if even a blindfold is too kinky now to be allowed on Etsy. So I've deactivated some of my hoods and other things that are in any way could be seen as gag or blindfold adjacent, just to try and be on the safe side, to try and stop my entire store being closed off of Etsy. But this is concerning. Definitely, if you regularly use Etsy to shop with any particular businesses, contact those businesses, find out if they have their own website. Have a look around, try and find new places to shop for your favourite BDSM items. Don't just rely on being able to go back onto Etsy next time you've run out of wax play candles or something and assume that you'll be able to just shop for them on Etsy like you have been doing for years. Because you might find that those items have been deleted, or those entire shops have been deleted by Etsy, even if they didn't sell any kind of sex toys or anything for genitals, but were just, like me, selling things that they've handmade in their workshop, but it's for the BDSM community. This has wide-ranging impacts. This is a strange policy. This is not the way that Etsy can turn their business around and get lots more people onto their website. This is a way that's going to drive people away from their website. They are alienating a huge community, and for no obvious reason. yes, there's some things that you can say you wouldn't want children to find on there, and that's fine. They've decided to stop selling those. There's also some people who are saying it's because the banks won't allow sales of sex toys to be processed by them, which again, a lot of people are totally unaware of just how much trouble we have as fetish businesses to just have a bank account, to just have a card processing company so that we can take your card transactions, to just have a PayPal account. A lot of these companies will not work with BDSM companies, even if what you sell is quite innocuous, of you make pet play tails and sell them, or you make blindfolds and sell them, or you make some fetish clothing and sell it. A lot of these companies will not deal with you, and it's a real struggle to find anyone who will. And Etsy have joined that fray now, so thanks, Etsy. The world just feels a little bit bonkers that since the 50 Shades of Grey phenomenon, the average person is now a lot more open-minded about kink. They understand that it's just fun sexual games that people play in the bedroom, and there is a wider kink community out there as well that some people are members of, and people are a lot more relaxed about it. But instead, the businesses have not caught up with that idea, and some of them, like Etsy, are even going backwards. So it is a scary time to be someone running a BDSM business. Obviously, I have my own website, and I do sell in person at a few small places, but Etsy was an easy way to reach new customers who hadn't heard of me, to reach a worldwide audience, to have a platform that I could advertise my products on that was designed for handmade sellers like me who put the effort in to create something, so you know it's not just a mass-produced thing in China that's going to break instantly. And not everybody will find my website because I'm a small business. I'm not some huge company that has hundreds of employees that can have this massive website, that can have a whole team updating it all and trying to figure out all the rules on social media, constantly evolving and changing to try and manage to get a post up without it being shadow banned. It's just a small company where we focus on trying to make really good quality BDSM gear for people who are fed up of things breaking instantly as soon as they use them because they're all mass produced in some Chinese factory. But now we've had another avenue that was a good way to reach customers who were specifically looking on a site designed for sellers like me, for shoppers who wanted some quality items that would last and be durable and be what they actually really wanted and be able to be customized and made for them. So we will have to see. We'll have to see if some other company manages to set up a site that will work like Etsy did for us. But in the meantime, definitely, if you have any sellers that you usually shop on their Etsy store, contact them now. Have they got a website? Have they got a direct way that you can shop with them, so that next time you go back on Etsy, if you find that shop has disappeared because of these new policies, that you've got some way to buy your favourite items? Go and do it now, because in a few days they might be gone. We have no idea yet whether this was just round one and they're going to carry on deleting more items today that they've just randomly decided are now in some way linked to their adult policy, or whether it was just yesterday and now things won't get any worse. And sure, I've had my pet play items, I've had my sleep sack, I've had my gags, I've had my blindfolds all deleted, and but the other things will stay. Who knows? I certainly don't, and it's my business, so that's pretty scary. So remember, shop on the website bondatrix.com. Keep an eye on my YouTube channel, keep an eye on the website. New items will be getting listed on there a hell of a lot more than they will on Etsy now. And yeah, check out my other videos, see if there's other things on this channel that interest you before YouTube also decides to take things down like they have many times in the past. This is about my 8th YouTube channel